Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So, Canelo Alvarez. Good fight this weekend with Triple G. Some think it was boring. Some think Triple G was too old. Some think Canelo looked fabulous. Some felt this was the most entertaining fight of all three. Others felt this was a chess match. I don't know, man. Everybody has a different opinion. But anyway, if you just clicked on this and you're not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. So, when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, right? The rumor is that Canelo Alvarez, his orbital bone has been fractured. Now, we know Canelo Alvarez came out initially and, out of nowhere, right? He was talking about how his hand was hurt and how he with his left hand, he can't even hold a glass. Now, this is what Canelo Alvarez said after the fight. With his left hand, he can't hold a glass. But that same left hand, he was able to ball into a fist and throw some powerful hooks, throw his jab, right? So, and he was able to clinch Triple G as well. Triple G was able to clinch Canelo. So it makes me wonder, like, okay, Canelo's not a guy who really makes excuses. You know what I'm saying? He kind of made a little bit of an excuse with Bivol, talking about there was things that were wrong, but in the rematch, he'll beat Bivol. So not many of us like to hear him making excuses because he's not that kind of guy. But when he said that about his hand, I said, you know what, that shit, it just doesn't sound right. Because I'm watching the fight, he's not wincing. He's able to mask it really good. So if I'm a guy and I can't, for my glasses, right? If I can't hold this is basically like holding a cup, right? If I can't squeeze this and hold this, right? How the hell can I make a fist and throw my jab or throw a hook? Okay? That's all I'm saying. So that made me wonder what exactly is really going on. So then he comes out after that and says he won't be fighting to the end of this year. Remember before, he was adamant about returning in December. And we all know for him to fight Bivol. And we all know Eddie Hearn is adamant about him returning this year and fighting someone as well, whether it's Bivol or whoever. And we all know why Eddie Hearn wants him to return. Eddie Hearn has to recoup that $1 billion that he didn't invest properly, okay? I already talked about that in other videos. I'm not going to get into that. So we know Eddie Hearn wants him back in the ring. But all of a sudden, Canelo's like, I'm going to wait probably until May. So I said, you know what? This man's been working feverishly the last couple of years. He's earned the right to take a break. No problem. But I said he's taking a break for his hand. Get surgery and let his hand heal. And I said, you know what? September, October, November, December, January, February, March. 6 months. Probably more summertime, May, right? That's almost a year. Those, let me tell you, when you have surgery on your hand, there's so many small bones, right? It's very meticulous. You have to be very careful because you can easily injure that hand again, post-surgery. But then I heard a rumor about, well, actually it wasn't a rumor. I knew he got his eye injured in the fight. He got hit with a Triple G jab and they collided heads, right? And Canelo got a cut. But I was watching when that happened, and I remember saying, man, like Canelo got the worst of that headbutt, and the 9th, 10th, 11th round, Triple G went left hand crazy. I don't know why the hell Triple G didn't throw his right hand. You would think that Triple G is the one that had the hand issues, because he wouldn't throw his damn right hand. But I said, you know what? It looked like Canelo got the worst end of the stick. So anyway, it's rumored that Canelo now has supposedly this hand issue, but that was said to mask the real issue is that he has some kind of fracture to his orbital bone. Okay, now he didn't take the kind of damage that like what he gave to Billy Joe Saunders, like what Kell Brook has. Okay. It's not that kind of damage to the orbital bone, like what Margarito had, but it's a slight, it's damaged. So that's why Canelo, he went from saying he won't return until May to being advised of what's going, like after the fight, there was a conversation with doctors, and then about how long it could take if it is a fracture to his orbital bone, could be out the whole year. So that's what Canelo came back and said, May, and then he said, or September. Look, September sounds right if you're going to get surgery on your hand and if there's some damage to your orbital bone, right? September sounds about right. But from May to September, you're talking about May, you're talking about June, July, August, September. You're talking about a 4-month difference. Now, he could require that amount of time for his hand too. But supposedly Triple G, whether it was the headbutt or when he went left hand crazy, at some point, the accumulation of what little shots he did land, but we know Triple G is a hard hitter, damaged Canelo pretty badly. Now, I'm waiting to see what's going to come out of that because, in the Canelo camp, they don't say much. They keep everything in-house, and Canelo's not a guy who's going to come out. And if he would have lost the fight, he definitely wouldn't want to talk about any injuries because it really seems like he's making an excuse. But since he won, he just wants to sit back, as what I'm assuming, and just relax. And then depending on what happens, then he'll kind of talk about what kind of injuries he really suffered. But just to think that if that's true, right, and if whatever damage he took to that eye is from the Triple G, the little bit of activity Triple G did have, and like the rounds 9 through 12, right? Imagine if Triple G would have let those hands go more. What that looked like to me was Lomachenko in there against Teofimo. Just inactive the first 9 rounds, and then picked up the pace. So when you look at the scorecards were still way off, and I still had Canelo winning the fight, like by 10-2, 9-3, something like that. But when you look at it, it's the same thing with Lomachenko. He picks up the pace, starts landing some good shots, but he loses his right to complain because he didn't leave it all in the ring. But Lomachenko said he had some problems with his hands or his arm or some shoulder or some crap. Triple G didn't make any excuses. He was just like, whatever. But I'm telling you right now, if that's true, and Triple G would have let that right hand go and they had another round, or he would have started early, Triple G would have won that fight. He could have possibly stopped Canelo, man. Because the accumulation of those punches, especially with that orbital bone, man, those are soft bones. Man, you guys all know, you watch boxing. You guys know what happens when people start getting that orbital bone damage and just keep getting it pounded, man. You know what eventually happens to that eye. It's extremely, extremely painful. Daniel Dubois, there's no quitting him. So what happened with him with Joe Joyce, it just hurts, So I'd be interested to find out what exactly is going on. Now, as far as Triple G and Canelo, look, when it comes to Canelo, people, I'm a Canelo fan. I'm a boxing fan. I like Canelo, I like Triple G. But let's just put things in perspective, okay? And let's be honest and unbiased. Canelo didn't look spectacular, and I understand Triple G is there and he hits hard, and that could be another reason why he didn't look spectacular, because he had hard hitting Triple G in there who's just a hard man. He's like an oak tree. Triple G is like Glenn Johnson. See, half you don't even know who the hell Glenn Johnson is. You see, because you're just coming along with boxing and you just do all the clickbait shit and watch a few highlights. You don't know who the hell Glenn Johnson is. That man built like an oak tree. There's no knocking out Glenn Johnson. You have to kill him. And that's how Triple G is. Now, Glenn Johnson doesn't fight anymore, but if you don't know who Glenn Johnson is, we'll look at Roy Jones versus Glenn Johnson. Look at Glenn Johnson versus Carl Froch, right? And see the type of damage that man took, especially against Carl Froch. He knocked Roy Jones out. But look, that shit against Carl Froch and how he just kept coming and coming. All right? Triple G is just like that. These guys are oak trees, man. Okay? So that could be what was causing those problems for Canelo in the fight. But I just think, like, Triple G did look his age in the fight. He's going to continue fighting, and I don't know who Triple G is looking to get in that ring and fight. But if he's trying to fight Charlo, I mean, even Eubank Jr. Look what Charlo did to Derevinchenko. Derevinchenko almost beat Triple G. Now, if Charlo does that to Derevinchenko, now we know styles make fights. It doesn't mean he's going to do that to Triple G. But let's just be real. What the hell is Charlo going to do to Triple G, who doesn't let his hands go because he's confused as hell now because he's got this new trainer. And he's afraid to let his hands go. You know what I'm saying? So Charlo gonna hurt him, man. Even Eubanks Jr. I think Eubanks Jr. beats the brakes off of Triple G. Honestly, I do. Triple G is just, I think he has nothing to prove. He needs to just go ahead and retire. Nothing left for that man to do. But he wants to keep fighting, and he says he's happy. He's making big money. He got a fat paycheck against Canelo. But we'll see what's going to happen with Triple G down the road. But this is just, we're just talking facts, man. But they definitely need to stay away from Charlo, even Eubank Jr. and Munguia. Do not mess with those three. Someone's going to hurt Triple G. He needs to, in my opinion, he needs to fight some C-level guys and keep stacking up this dough and, and try to, surpass Hopkins or one of those guys, or just retire. Because getting there with these young guys, you're going to get murdered. Now, back to Canelo Alvarez. Canelo's strong. Canelo still got a little bit of speed. He still got some potential. But I don't think Canelo's in his prime anymore. I think Canelo's 1 foot in his prime, 1 foot out of his prime. And for those of you who are saying, man, you don't know what you're talking about, I'll offer you this, right? This man has, over 60 fights. There's over 60 training camps. That's over 60 different hard, however many round, multiple sparring sessions he's had to have getting ready for fights. And, that's a lot of wear and tear, man. All right? And he's been working so hard the last few years, stacking up his dough, fighting champion after champion, winning belts. I mean, just doing what you would like to see other boxers do. But the thing is this with some of these other boxers, and this is about Canelo right now, but since I made that statement, I want to elaborate. This is how the system works when you have a machine behind you and you can do the business. When you have a country behind you, or you don't necessarily have a country, but you have a strong following, and you get in there and you win the fights, and you have the right team behind you with the money to push it. This is how you develop a Canelo Alvarez. Everyone's doing their job, but most importantly, the fighter. If you had some of these other fighters out here who can do the job, right people behind them and the right following, they will be in a similar position. Boo-boo Andre. But it is what it is. Okay? But something else we need to take into consideration, because everyone's talking about, okay, Canelo Alvarez, he needs to go on and fight David Benavidez. I personally don't think he needs to fight David Benavidez, and I think Canelo knows he shouldn't take that fight too. Because Canelo knows himself, he knows his body. But something that is unique here, right? Talk about passing of the torch. Canelo turned pro at 15. David Benavidez, you guys know what age he was when he turned pro? He was 16. So talk about, and then look at the age Canelo is, and look at the age Benavidez is. And if they were to fight and Benavidez beats Canelo, or how about if Canelo beats Benavidez? Just like Mayweather and Canelo. See? Very similar. Both turned pro very young. Both at a point about to fight probably the pound for pound best guy, which Canelo fought Mayweather, Benavidez fighting Alvarez. But Alvarez isn't going to get in there because after watching that fight, I think Alvarez knows. I don't think he's afraid of no one, but I think he's at the same time, like, why would I get in there and fight this killer when I can fight these other guys who have more to offer? In addition to that, he still really believes these fighters should do like him and get in there and build their profiles. So I can't fault Canelo, all right? But I'm going to tell you this for those who did not know. Canelo, Bivol and Benavidez have sparred on multiple occasions. What do you guys think happened in those sparring sessions? And Canelo knows this. Benavidez whipped Bivol's ass. So all Benavidez said was, Bivol knows what's up. Bivol ain't respond. Canelo knows Benavidez whipped Bivol's ass, and Bivol easily beat Canelo's ass. Now you can say, oh, sparring. Sparring is just sparring. That's not the actual fight. It's a good measuring stick on kind of how to gauge what exactly the opponent brings to the table. And Benavidez wants all the smoke. So Benavidez isn't going to jump up to cruiserweight, jump up to light heavyweight. Benavidez wants to fight Canelo at 168, but Canelo's not going to take that fight. So I don't know what Canelo's going to do. But right now, My understanding, Canelo is trying to nurse some injuries and get himself together, looking at September, maybe even the end of 2023 return, not just for that hand, because he has a fractured orbital. But if so, that you better believe that's going to get leaked somehow, man. I'll be looking at the websites there, you know, Mexican boxing websites to see, or the little guy, pound for pound boxing or whatever, to see if they're covering anything on that, because it's going to get leaked at some point. But that was my understanding. Is Canelo had some kind of fracture to his face orbital bone, but he didn't take a lot of damage to it, but started acting up at the end of the fight, and that's the reason why he's not coming back to the end of next year. Probably he said May, then he changed to September, but it could be after that. So that being said, you leave your 2 cents below and let me know your opinion. But I think Canelo needs to just relax, keep fighting if he wants, but there's nothing left for Triple G to prove. There's nothing left for Canelo Alvarez. I mean, Canelo Alvarez, he's solidified, man. There's nothing else for this man to do. Triple G, hey, his window of opportunity, guys didn't want to fight him. You know, Andre called him out, but they didn't really want to fight Andre because same thing. Who has he fought? He's boring. But that could just be an excuse, you know what I mean? There was, you know, Eubank Jr. has been calling him out for a while. But for those of you who are saying, oh, he ran from them. He's not running from them. He's running towards big money fights. Why would he go fight those guys and there's no big money in it? Okay? But at the same time, if Triple G had a mentality like Earl Spence Jr., you're going to go out there and get all the belts, clip all these champions. That's what Earl Spence did. That's what Canelo's doing, moving up and down weight classes. But so I could understand faulting Triple G somewhat, but at the end of the day, I don't fault him at the same time because this man's chasing money. So it is what it is. But then again, like and subscribe. I appreciate the support. Now we're almost at 900, soon to be at 1,000. Y'all keep cool. And as always, I am in the breeze.